What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Kim Codes. In this video, I'm going to be doing a comparison. Team Treehouse versus Colt Steele's Web Development Bootcamp. Now, this is coming from a person who has no past experience of coding, no technical career experience of coding, so you guys are getting like an honest review. Of course, this video is not sponsored. I only have 8 subscribers, so I'm not sponsored by any of them. So I'm gonna go over the pros and cons from a really beginner point of view. Somebody who worked from scratch, never had any coding experience, never had any tech experience whatsoever. What do I think about it? Somebody who's a visual learner and somebody who's not too good at math. My opinion on Team Treehouse versus Colt Steele's Web Development Bootcamp. So now I am taking them both at the same time because I am self-teaching myself, and at that time I was following a YouTuber. His name was The Dreaded Dev, and he gave that advice. Like, he did several things at several times. So I was doing Team Treehouse, Colt Steele's Web Developer Bootcamp, and I was doing stuff with Free Code Camp. But then I saw Coding Phase's new video about falling under the trap of Free Code Camp, so I stopped Free Code Camp, and it kind of resonated with me too. So I'm just gonna give you guys an idea of what I'm doing. So right now I'm on the Team Treehouse website. I am doing the front developer track. So right now I am all the way up to HTML forms. I only have 20 minutes left. And in Colt Steele's Web Developer Bootcamp, I am up to finish the startup landing page. So the next one is section 8. So I just finished section 7 of Colt Steele's Web Developer Bootcamp. So I'm in the middle of both of them, so I'm just doing back and forth. So what I like about Team Treehouse, the pros of Team Treehouse is that I am a visual learner, so I like that before every video they have like cute little animations. It's so cute, and they have people actually talking to you. So like, I took classes in Codecademy before too, and it wasn't bad, but one thing I didn't really like about it was it's just like I felt like a computer was telling me what to do, and I didn't really feel that human to human interaction. So that's why I went to Bootcamp Prep anyway in the city. So that's why I didn't do that. But I like that human to human interaction. I like that they kind of try to make learning fun. And I also like that sometimes they have like little practice questions. So sometimes, let's say if you're going over JavaScript functions or loops, they would email you. They would say, hey, you just finished JavaScript function loops, try out this program. And I like that after you finish the section, they actually email you and they say, hey, you just finished this section, move on to this next section. So it kind of motivates you to keep going. And as you finish each module, they actually let you know of your progress. So they tell you, okay, well, you have this steps to go, this much steps to go, and like they kind of show you visually, like you've done how many steps today. They show you and they tell you keep up the momentum. So let's say you did 22 steps on Monday, they show you 22 steps. So Tuesday you come back in, you're like, oh, I want to beat that 22 steps. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but it's a great initiative that gives you great motivation to keep going and to keep practicing and to keep coding. So that's one thing I like. Another thing that I really like about Team Treehouse is the community. So of course you're not in a boot camp, so you don't have someone physically there to show you. And even when I went to a boot camp prep, it was pretty much like telling me, you know what, you have to learn how to work independently, because as a developer you're gonna go through bugs, you're gonna go through dealing with clients and fixing stuff, and you can't always call up somebody and say, hey, can you help? You have to learn how to teach yourself how to solve problems and think like a computer for yourself. So I do like that in Team Treehouse. It's kind of like Stack Overflow. You can basically post your code and like people talk. Like there was this one module I remember, they said, oh, they said this JavaScript section should have been easy, but it's not. And someone actually admitted that, and another person chimed in. They're like, yeah, this module wasn't too easy, or this teacher in this specific Team Treehouse lesson kind of jumped ahead, and everybody gave their opinion. And also, the number one thing I like about Team Treehouse community is that I don't know if they're working for Team Treehouse, or I don't know if these are just students who've had so many points or who went so far that they genuinely like helping people. But some people will go out of their way and explain to you in detail. Like, even if the person said, oh, I don't understand. They keep saying I don't understand over and over. The person will not give up until you learn, and I don't think they're getting paid for it. And I would do that too for somebody if they didn't understand something, because I know how it feels like when you don't understand something in code. You feel like you're stupid, you feel like you're not meant for it, you feel like giving up. But that's not true, because you don't know if you don't like something if you give up. You know what I mean? So if you understand something and then you do it and you don't like it, then you can give up, you know? So that's that. That's what I like about Team Treehouse. Is the community. Community is the #1 thing. Like, real people give you real answers. There's this one guy named Steven Parker. If you supposedly watch this video, shout out to you. He's always swinging through a vine to help me, and he's so good. I see him helping other people also, and he's really good. And I saw that on his profile. He's like amazing. And another thing I like about Team Treehouse is that they give you points. So the more stuff that you accomplish, you get points. So right now I'm at like 3,001 points. And when I see other students who are at 50,000 or 128,000, that really motivates me, because I'm a very competitive person by nature. So when I see other people having more points than me, I'm like, oh no, this person can have more points than me, so I work harder. And you know, it's not really about the points or whatever, but it's something to help you. Another thing is I like that they give badges. So even at the end of a module, even if it's something so small, like you just completed HTML basics and you have to go onto the next module within the HTML course, they give you a badge. And honestly, I really do believe in rewarding people, like psychologically. When you reward people for stuff, it's like they used to do that with children when we were in pre-K and kindergarten, and they stop when we get older. And I personally don't believe in stopping, but when they reward you with little badges and stuff, like, you get really happy, you get a pat in the back, and that's good. I mean, some people don't need it. I mean, I'm not saying that you need it, but it does boost my self-esteem, does boost my ego, especially when you're struggling and you get through it, you feel good, you know? Another pro I like about Team Treehouse is just basically, like, they're very professional. Like, I follow some of the teachers on Twitter, and then they put a lot into production. You could clearly see they put a lot into the lights, the camera. They put a lot into production. They try really hard to, like, explain to you. They try really hard to break it down. And then also there's some little product that you do on your own. That brings me to another thing. One other thing I like about Team Treehouse is that along the module, sometimes they'll give you a thing where you have to code on your own. I can't even explain it, but you have to code on your own. They give you a problem and you code on your own based on the previous module that you did. Okay, so that's #1 thing I like about it. Just the community, just everything like that. So the cons about Team Treehouse. One of the major cons about Team Treehouse is that sometimes, I mean, it's not a big con, but sometimes I get so bored. Sometimes the teachers speak so, like, today we're going to learn about coding, and then they turn blah 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 blah. It just sounds very robotic, so sometimes that can make it boring, like, ugh, I gotta do this ish again. Or like they make it like it sounds so, like, bland, you know. There was one teacher I liked. He taught typography, and he kind of made some jokes, even though it was like dry jokes. Like, at least he tried to be a little bit more thing. And I know they have to stick to a script. They're probably reading off a screen, whatever, but it is a little dry. But you know, these people are coders, like, they're not actors or whatever, so I get it, you know. But that's the only thing. Like, I just feel like sometimes it's dry. Another thing that leads into it is that some of the teachers in Team Treehouse, I feel like they just don't know how to explain it. I don't know if it's the way they wrote the script. I don't know if it is a script, but sometimes I feel like the way they explain it, like, I just don't get it. Like, or sometimes they would go to a module and said, oh, this should have been easy, blah 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 blah. I'm like, what? This should not have been easy. This was actually hard. And when other students chime in and say, yeah, that wasn't easy, I feel better about myself. So that's another thing. It's like, sometimes certain teachers do not know how to explain certain things, and they think that they do, but they don't. So that's one of the things I don't really like about Team Treehouse. And I think the price is really good. I think the price is worth it. $20 a month. I think it is worth it. I think they did put in the effort to do it like that. You just have to put in the hours. You just have to put in the work. You can't just pay $20 and not do anything. And yeah, so I do think it's worth it. So on to the pros of the Web Developer Bootcamp from Colt Steele. So one thing I like about Colt Steele is a lot of times if I don't understand something from Team Treehouse, Like if I get introduced to, like, let's say JavaScript or HTML, CSS. Well, I didn't get to JavaScript yet in Colt's thing, but when I get to like when I was learning CSS, like certain stuff I didn't understand with Team Treehouse explanation, I went to Colt Steele, and he talks to you as if you're his friend. It's like you're going over to his house, and he's like, let's have a cup of coffee, let's have some lunch, and I'm gonna explain to you how CSS, I don't know, basic selectors work. That's one thing I like about him. He makes it very personable. He doesn't make it like, okay, this is a lesson and this is what you have to do. Like, he's very personable. He puts personality into it, and believe it or not, that goes a long way. Even though you're teaching something technical, it goes a long way. I like that in the beginning he explains like how computers work. Like he says, okay, he uses little cute cartoons. As you can see, I love cute cartoons and animations. He uses like cute cartoons. He said, okay, this is how a computer works. When you send an information to the computer, this is what happens, blah blah blah. And he makes you feel like you're about to embark in a journey that is cool, not a journey that is hard. Because a lot of people say, okay, coding is full of hours and hours of learning, and you know, you're gonna go through stumbles, and it's true. But you know, I'm tired of hearing that all the time. I want to hear encouragement. So I like that he's very encouraging, you know. Another thing is like Colt Steele, he knows how to explain things. It's the reason why I feel like he's like the #1. That's the #1 boot camp class, because he, at least in this one, I don't know about his new ones. I heard he has a second one, but in this one, he really knows how to explain. He really knows how to break it down, and it feels like he's talking to his friend and not a customer. Yeah, I think that's the #1 thing I like about it. Oh, another thing I like about Colt Steele is that when you take his course, you feel confident enough to go ahead and build your own website. Like, that's one thing I was very apprehensive about. Even if I went through the Team Treehouse modules and I was getting the points, I was getting the badges, I did feel comfortable enough to like open up a code editor and redo what I just did. But I felt even more comfortable and confident when I finished Colt Steele's lessons, when he gave us a project, like, okay, do this. I like that he gave us a project at a module. He said, okay, go do this project, and then the next module will be him doing it and explaining how he did it, why he did it, and if you did it the same way, if you got the same result that he did but it was in a different way, it's okay. I like that. I learn like that. So if you're that type of person who learns like that, like I'm somebody, like I have to do it first myself, let me do it myself, and then you come in and explain why I did wrong or right. I'm like that. I don't learn by just watching all the time. I have to do it. Okay, so that's just how I learn. And yeah, so that's what I like so far. So far I'm halfway through. So yeah, so would I recommend Team Treehouse or would I recommend Colt Steele? Definitely, if you guys are just beginning and let's say you don't have that much money, I would definitely say go to Udemy when there's a sale. There's always a sale, like maybe every other day. Go to Udemy when there's a sale. Pick up Colt Steele's Web Developer Bootcamp and take it. And then when you're ready to commit to Team Treehouse, you can just go to Team Treehouse for more in-depth. If I can give a perfect explanation, it's like Team Treehouse is like a textbook and Colt Steele is like an outline. You know what I mean? Like he tells you the basic stuff and then he's like, okay, this is where you can go to find extra. This is where you can go to find extra. And he doesn't make it seem hard. Like he doesn't make it seem like, well, you have a long road ahead. I mean, even if it's hard, but like, dang, like I want to feel encouraged. Yeah, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was my video of comparing Team Treehouse and Colt Steele's Web Developer Bootcamp. If you guys have any questions, leave it down below. Please give this video a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Happy coding. Bye!